Well, hello there, YouTube. Weekend Wanderer 3 here. December 22nd, 2020. Just want to come up with a video here for the holidays and let you know that all's good with me. As you can see, I'm sporting the Amish look. Just want to go over a few things. If you can hear that noise in the background, that's my heater. But I want to go over a few things for channel update and a new channel. It's not really a new channel. Well, it is and it's not. It's going to be pretty much the same stuff that I do here, except for it's going to be on a platform called BitChute. BITCHUTE. Facebook, I mean not Facebook, but YouTube is starting to get a little carried away with their stuff. Anyway, with that being said, I'll still post on YouTube, and BitChute is going to be the same channel name, Weekend Wanderer III, but all one word, no spaces. That one's going to be the same basic stuff that I do on YouTube, except with the inclusion of some product use videos and what my likes and dislikes are about the products that I use, that I personally use, and I'll let you know, if I remember, where I got them and what I like about them and what I don't. Where I try not to do that on YouTube because I don't like doing reviews. But I know I've been asked often enough to talk about the stuff I use and why I use it. So, if you want to call it a review, call it a review. But I'm going to call them product use videos because it's stuff that I currently use. It's not something that some company sent to me to review. Well, no, because I still don't want to do that. But if you want to send me a product, I'll use it for a while, and if I like it, post a video about my use of that product. If I don't like it, you're probably not going to see it. But anyway, with that being said, I'm out here on a back porch today. It's a little cloudy out. 30 degrees Fahrenheit, -1 Celsius. I'm going to post this video to BitChute also. It'll be my first video, so if you go there, don't look for a lot of videos. I'm going to start with, I know I've covered this in YouTube before, but this is for the BitChute channel mainly. I want to start basic stuff. If you're on your own out in the woods and you need to get through a night or two. Not like a survival situation where you have to immediately change your surroundings or you'll die. Just more comfort stuff and food and boiling water and, you know, selecting materials to make it through the night. So with that, I think my first part of this series is going to be on fire. This fire is very important. It does many things for you. And it seems to be portrayed as an easy thing. It's fire. Yeah, okay, we all know what fire is. It burns. It's hot. Good deal. Well, it's not quite enough to know. So we'll get started right away with it here. As you can tell, this is not scripted. It's just off the cuff, as I think of it. But anyway, fire. There's three things a fire needs: oxygen, fuel, and heat. And if that's all you know about fire, it's not going to get you through. So we'll dive into it right away. Alright, as I mentioned earlier, three things a fire needs to survive: fuel, heat, and oxygen. But like I said, if that's all you know, it's not going to get you very far, because here I have fuel. Right? Fuel. Oxygen, it's all around. It's in the air. And here is my heat. Matches are damp. Okay. That was a fail. We'll try two of them this time. Alright. We got fire. Heat. Oxygen's all around us. Here's the fuel. And like I said, the matches are damp. Well, how come it didn't, I know it needs, I got the fuel, I had the heat, and there's oxygen. Okay, not to beat a dead horse, you know what I'm talking about. You need to understand that you need to process some of this stuff, and not everything's going to burn. Look at the matches. They were damp from sitting out here. They're strike anywhere matches, but and you see it's but then it just, because the wood is wet. And see, I'm holding it upside down because fire likes to climb. But it still goes out. Even something that small. So you need to process smaller pieces down to tinder, and this would be a good tinder. Bunch of curls, feather sticks, whittlings, shavings, that's all tinder. You can have twigs, you can have small little branches, grasses if they're dry. Something as simple as birch bark or fatwood, which is resinous pine. You also can get somewhat decent fatwood from cedar, but that's mainly the bark of cedar, because the resin stays in the bark of cedar. But cedar does burn hot. Burns fast, but it burns hot. See, these are all things I think you should need to know. Is not just the pyramid, the fire pyramid, which is the 3 points of a pyramid, you know, heat, oxygen, and fuel. You need to know materials also. Different types of materials. If you're in a pine woods, you need to know fatwood. You need to know pine cones, the dead pine duff that's laying around if you find some dry stuff. The bottom side, the low part of a pine tree with the dead branches, that's all good tinder. It's good fire starting material. But if you're in a hardwoods forest, you're not going to see a pine tree. So you need to be diverse enough in your knowledge to be able to create fire in multiple locations. So I'll get set up here with, I just got birch bark here, so we'll go with birch bark. Alright, I'm back. Got my little slab here. Got the matches that went out. And I have a random log of birch bark. Now, birch bark has got the resin in it. That's why the bark lasts longer than the wood does. You see that? The wood is pretty punky. On this side it's pretty rotten. But that's okay. Because you just take your knife and you can just cut into it. And peel birch bark off. It doesn't take a whole lot. And now this, you can take this off, the inner rotten stuff. It doesn't really matter unless it's wet. Then you should probably scrape that off of there. But you got it sitting here. I have a sharpened spine on my knife, so I just use the back side of the knife. And you just scrape it, and you can see how it's starting to turn that orangish color underneath there. And you just want to get yourself a little pile of that. And it's always good to have some extra pieces once you get the flame to be able to put on there and start extending the flame. Now this can be lit with a match, lighter, or a ferro rod. Which is just a ferrocerium rod that when you got a sharpened spine. Where are you here? It does sparks. And if you want a lot of sparks, you can go back here and you hold the knife steady and you just pull this backwards. The sparks kind of fly everywhere. But another way to do it is just a little quick one like that. I'm not very good at that yet, but it's more direct. See, I got flame right away. So I did processing. I got the birch bark, had the tinder ready, but I still didn't create a sustainable fire because my fire prep was not adequate. Get this off of there so it's flat when I work on it. Now I'm going to do more fire prep. Sometimes the spine of your knife can be too sharp and it grabs. You can also use the blade of the knife. But then if you come back too far, you risk catching your finger, and that's really no fun. But this is going to be just as damp as the matches were, because it's also sitting outside. Now, I have a better pile of the fluff, which is the spark catcher, catches the spark. And if I get this stuff ready right away, I can get that started. Then I can get this on there. Then I can get the matchsticks on there that were damp to begin with. And I have time to get other stuff to burn, because I did fire prep. But that's not going to last, because I still don't have the little twigs, the bigger sticks, the finger size sticks, and then the sticks this size, you know, toilet paper roll core tube size, and then the bigger processed wood. But that is birch bark. One of my favorite methods is fat wood. Like I said, it's just a resinous pine. The resin in the pine that gives it that pine tree smell. Collects in branches and roots, certain areas. What you can do with that is just shave a little bit off. See how nice and dark that is? The bigger pieces there. Set those aside. Grab the curls, put them up here. And then, as I mentioned before, if you got a sharpened spine on the back of your knife, you can make some dust. You don't always have to make the dust, because those curls will start with a ferro rod or a lighter. But this is just, it catches the spark better, so it better chances of ignition. And the better odds you can create for yourself, the better off you're going to be in the event you have to have a fire. And there's that. And again, we can use the ferro rod. If I can get the spark to go in there, Okay, we'll do it the other way that I normally do it. Get the sparks in there and you get some flame. See how much faster that burns and that black smoke? That's that resin. And you get your little pieces here and see how fast they catch. And you have fire. You can process this piece, split it down into little pieces, and maintain a flame until you can get your other sticks started. That is fatwood. Something else that you can use to carry with you is something as simple as just grill starter stuff. They sell this stuff online too, like Esbit tabs. Just comes in a little fire starter. Open them up, you set them down, and you start them on fire. These normally you need a flame to start it, but it doesn't take much. See, even though that match was damp, it goes out, that's already going. Now there's your flame extender to get your other stuff started. That's much easier than anything else. All the self-made fire stuff does the same thing. Burns for quite a while. Gets it hot enough so you can start other stuff on fire. Build your fire. See, that one even started already. And I carry stuff similar to this in my pack. Just one, maybe, or some other little, the wick type, or the disc, like the acne pads or the makeup pads that are wax coated. They got some flammable material in there and they're coated with wax so they're waterproof. I'm going to get rid of this before I start the porch on fire. Put it in the chimney. And then, oh, let's get you up here. And then, if I absolutely have to have fire and conditions are damp, I know I got them little tablets or the self-made fire starter things, fire extenders, and it's a peace of mind type thing. I haven't ever used them, needed to use them. Not to say I will never need it. It's one of those things, how's that saying go? You plan for the worst, but you hope for the best. And something like that, that little tab, even one of those Esbit tabs for the little Esbit stoves. I don't have it with me. But any of them commercial made fire starters, the fire rope or fat rope, whatever they call it, that you cut a little piece off and you start it on fire. Nice to have in case you need it. And it weighs nothing, takes up no space. Just throw it in your pack, you're good to go. You have it in case you need it. Throw a Bic lighter in there, you're good to go. But this was just an intro of basic fire. In other videos, I'll go into more depth of how to get fat wood, where to find it out in nature, natural twig bundles, flint and steel maybe. You can find flint or chert laying around a lot of places. It's not in town, but I mean out in the woods. And a lot of stuff that's just a stone that you wouldn't think anything of can spark. And if you got the proper material to go with that spark, you can create fire. We'll go into bow drill. That's a little more complicated setup, and it's something you really need to practice and become proficient at before you try to implement it in an emergency situation or an overnight, unplanned overnighter where you need fire. That's why it's always best just to carry matches or a lighter. Sometimes matches get wet and they don't work, I know that. Or a lighter can break and lose all the fluid, but you still got the spark. So what this series here is meant to show you is the proper preparation to make fire. If you know all that stuff, then you have multiple ways of creating fire. And it all boils down to preparation and knowing the materials you can use to affect fire more efficiently and quicker. You can grab some green grass that's just been rained on, and yeah, you got yourself a nice little tinder bundle. It's going to be hard to get a flame out of that, or at least any kind of flame that lasts. Even dead grass that's wet. In the mornings, in the summertime, when it's warm out, in the fall, in the spring, yeah, it's dead grass, but it's damp because of the dew. In the mornings and the evenings, the dew sets down and coats everything with water. So you gotta look other places. Inner bark of a dead tree, you know, the pine branches that are underneath, snap little twigs off. And then there's the splitting of wood. Or if this is all wet on the outside, you can split it down, and in the center here, 9 times out of 10 it'll be dry, unless it's all rotten and then the water gets down inside anyway. But you just got to process the material in order to create fire. And once you know that, your chances get a whole lot better. And the more you know, the better your chances. Wisdom weighs nothing. Knowledge weighs nothing. Knowledge is what you know. Wisdom is knowing how to apply that knowledge to any given situation. Okay, I hope you like this intro so far to a new series. Like I said, I've covered a lot of this on my YouTube channel, but I want to do this just basic stuff for my new, can't think of the name now, but on BitChute. And thinking about, I've been watching some other videos where there's no talk. It's more of just a video where you watch. Some people like those, some people don't. I'll do some of those on a new channel, but those aren't really going to be geared towards the inexperienced or underexperienced person, because yeah, you're going to see what I'm doing, but you're not going to know what I'm doing if you've never done it. So it's kind of harder to learn that way. And for me, not be able to explain something, I have difficulties for that. So, I don't know how much. I'm going to try to talk less, put it that way. Because a lot of videos, pretty much all they are is just me doing this, talking. But I'm trying to explain while I show. And for some that helps, for others it doesn't. But if you come across one of those non-talking videos of mine and you don't like it, skip it. I don't care. I don't get paid for this stuff anyway. I do it because I enjoy it. And I'd like to pass along some knowledge that may just save your life. Like I said, fire's pretty important. It does all kinds of things. While you're watching this, and afterwards, come up with some things that you think fire can do for you. If you're stranded out in the woods overnight, gotta wait till daytime because you didn't bring a flashlight. So you don't want to be wandering around unfamiliar woods in the dark. And say you're dressed like I am now, and it's 30 degrees out. Sure, during the day it was 60. Perfectly fine dressing this way for 60. Now you got lost. Something happened. You come to the conclusion that you got to spend the night in the woods. And this is all you got. What do you think fire can do for you then? Alright. I am Dean. Channel name is Weekend Wanderer I, which is supposed to be the Roman numeral 3, but video platforms don't seem to recognize Roman numerals anymore. So, if you're searching for me, it's Weekend Wanderer I. Alright. Take care, and hope to see you out in the woods.